Good morning. Welcome back to the Ahn Rho Project. This is a continuation of the previous series, continuing series of the, self-therapeutic multimedia project for me to solve the problems and challenges in my life, as well as a way for me to reach the heights and goals I set for myself. So what you see is what you get. What do we have in the title? What do you see around this room? Everything's a mess. Everything's in chaos. And we even have a photograph here on the side here, just a little screenshot of a tiny snippet of a bunch of things I have to get done. And that's just a drop in the ocean, believe it or not. So I have actually more than about 350 things to do, and they will not all get accomplished. But let's get started. So we're continuing off from, I was talking about this hellhole of the past 2 months. It's going on. It's going to drag on to 3 months now from the way things look at it. But from the previous live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're coming from, bonjour, hello, wherever you're coming from, I can say without a fact that things did not really get better. That we are taking a look here, and I can say, just moving around the room up there, you see all those groceries items, snack food items. We have down here some stuff that just really, I threw out some old compost and garbage and grocery items, and then we just refilled with and restocked with more stuff. And then same thing with the business and health related items. We received more product. And then here on the side here, next to the table, once again, we have more garbage. So everything, it's as if we've just been at a standstill pace, and the longer it stays like this, again, the more likely it is I'm going to collapse under the strain. So relationships, money, finance, business, volunteering, employment, everything just coming together all at once, and I'm going downhill. So let's see how this works out. You can take a look in the title. It does say system redacted. It's just kind of a bunch of, it's just to illustrate, and it's a way for me to express through text how much chaos has been going down. And I guess that's kind of evident if you take a look around the room. So why don't we get started today? I would say that there are roughly about 5 areas I need to touch upon, maybe six areas, and that's 6 groups of items. But if we count individual sort of, subgroups, we would say that there are maybe about 10, maybe a dozen or so. So we'll get started on the table right here. Okay, and we're going to do a little layout. We have some paperwork or mail. We have some tools that I need to talk about here because it was discarded and run over out on the street, basically fell down, and I had to come back after work realizing that it'd been run over by several cars. So it's not a dead cat, but whatever. So we have some tools, some equipment, some paperwork. We have a bunch of garbage here. We need to get through that. We have a makeshift way of my lunch, if you call that a lunch. I don't know what you want to call that. So there's some food there, some sustaining stuff, there's paperwork, and there's equipment. Moving on to the side here, we have more groceries that were purchased new, not the ones that I had in the previous stream. Once again, just 3 days ago I had a live stream. Completely renewed. All this stuff is new as well. It's not just food and packaging. We also have some garbage here, some safety equipment, just not safety equipment, but for the whole COVID thing. So the mask, we have some toiletries. On the bottom here, we have new product from the sort of business and health and molecular research kind of industry that I'm in, basically with my partner. So, and finally up here, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess, areas. 6 up here. This is the last one I think that we can cover for today. Where's my hand? So we have this little belt here, and basically, right. That's not what I'm supposed to cover. It's actually supposed to be down here. So we have this pair of pants, and I was talking about the tools and the equipment that fell outside when I was going to work. Came back, car ran over it, so we're going to get a replacement right there. So that's everything we need to cover today. And again, that's, jumping from equipment to paperwork to mail to food and groceries, packaging, garbage, to relationships, some money, finance. We have some, health and food related stuff. So everything's just coming together. And we're going to split this stream. I should mention, I was supposed to say that at the very beginning of the stream. That's just going to be 2 live streams. I don't think we can cover it all at once. I still have to deliver a take-home message as usual. But on top of that, I have to mention that we are going to reform the system, the way the Ahn Rho Project works. Especially, take a look at the title. Things have to, This was the intended plan of the Ahn Rho Project, that this constantly evolving, sort of organic mechanical organism, this abstract yet physical piece, this project, this thing that encapsulates my entire life. It's like I'm going through 50 different phase transitions of life, and all compressed into 30 months. Well, it's really more like 100, couple hundreds of phase transitions, and every time I have to repivot and edit the way I do things. So obviously, I'm starting to name the titles of the live streams. I'll talk about this later on, with more utility. I'm going to name them with reference to what I need to cover, because it's useful for me, and that's the way I'm going to start doing things to get as much done as I possibly can. So why don't we just deep dive into everything? We need to get a head start because I'm already late for work. I'm supposed to be at work actually, but this is more important. So why don't we get started? We have mail here. Turned it all over because of obvious confidentiality reasons, privacy reasons. We have 4 mail items here. There's one here too, but I don't want to get into that. But we already covered it. We said that, of course, I still have to get rid of my employment benefits and stuff like that, and do that optician thing. Get my pair of eyeglasses, pay for file the claims before I leave the workplace that I'm currently employed at. We also have once again, there's my wallet there. We'll talk about that in a second. Get a cash withdrawal, and on top of that we have what else? Right, the phone right here also needs to get a new case, and I need to get a data plan set up for that as well. So that's like a myriad of 4 different things just on the side that we weren't really the main topics today. You can see that actually there are some of these items here are listed on the side. On the right hand side of this photo, they're actually included there. You can see the shorthand notation there, cash withdrawal. That's basically a reference to that wallet right there. So that's not even what we're supposed to cover today. So it's just the mail here. First of all, there's 2 of which come from are supposed to be for my caregivers, so I'm gonna return that there. But there's 2 here that were for me, and I still haven't gotten to them. I mentioned in my previous live stream a little bit, and I'm just going to detail a little bit more here. Long story short, there's a card in one of those. Another one has a policy kind of thing going down. So changes in policy, I need to scan it, obviously, upload it onto the computer, get an electronic version. And then the other one, obviously, if it's a card, I should activate it because they're doing that new interact thing going down. So we can tap instead of sliding and inserting all the time. So there's just some financial matters. On top of that, of course, on the laptop as well, I'm going to have to, I had to purchase a new laptop. That's another thing. That's going to be a huge expense. And then on top of that, a lot of setup, a lot of, security measures and everything, setting up the entire laptop, getting everything synced up. But also, there's a few cash withdrawals I need to do. So that's all the financial stuff. And now we have some things I missed here. So, the paperwork's done, the financial stuff we've talked about. All right, what's next? Okay, so I was talking about this tool here and how this was an unexpected. So I was going to work, and I'm picking up right here. I'm going to try to hold it real close to the camera so you can see, but it's all messed up. You can see that it's been run over by the tire. It's those like tire marks scraped against the pavement, completely deformed. Well, not completely. I'm surprised that it's maintained most of its shape. Long story short, this is the knife that I bring, a box cutter, to my warehouse, utility knife, whatever you want to call it. And I had to replace it with this one right here. So this is the drop leg that I use when I go to work. I know it's not faring so well because of the contrast, but here, you can see it now a little bit better. If I can pull the utility knife out, it's going to be a bit of a troublesome thing. So I'm not going to do that. Forget it. Long story short, I replaced that utility knife, a small, slender, thin one that was pretty functional, and I replaced it with a thicker one right here that actually fits more snug. It's the right shape, kind of like a keystone, so it won't fall off. But I usually like slender knives like that. Unfortunately, I won't be able to use that. That's fine. So that's a piece of trash, equipment, tools, and then here we have a bunch of stuff that I should have talked about, but I didn't in my previous stream. So obviously this is a miss. So we have some receipts here from the groceries. We'll get to that in a second. We have more of this garbage here from the health supplements I'm taking as a part of my business as well, duo with my relationships from someone I used to volunteer at the hospital, which I'm not anymore because of COVID, but doesn't change the fact that I'm still a volunteer there, so that's fine. And then we have some tape here because I have to tape up the bed, but also I have to tape up, I had to tape up something. I don't remember what it was. I believe it might have been the mirror that I used for live streaming on occasion. So there's more stuff here about the tape. There's one piece of here's a new one that I'm using. Here's garbage and trash. So I can throw this away. I can throw this away. Both of this is garbage. The receipts I can put away. And then finally we have some personal care. Just the nail clipper. I did take care of that over the weekend as well. And it's dirty and I need to wash it. And then so I can get rid of these receipts, all this garbage, all this trash, all this tape. Start using the new one. This knife here, no longer of any use. The utility knife. This needs to be washed. Then we have here nutritional health supplements as well as the food that I've packaged, very makeshift. This box actually, I should mention, is something from a Chinese supermarket and is something that not really I'm supposed to be eating. Inside are some pastry items that come from my caregivers, not supposed to touch it. It's a class 2 item. I filled it up with my own bread, so class 1s, things I made myself that I purchased my own hard-earned money, bringing that to work. So we have some lunch, which is literally just bread with black pepper. So that's why I'm going to use all these supplements here, which, by the way, I should show. I didn't detail this in much detail before, but long story short, used to use on a health pack. Very standard, straightforward. You can search that up. Anyways, we have, obviously the antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. In addition to Magna-Cal D. But of course, I decided to rearrange some of the items in here. Lower the dosage of some of them and increase some new ones, including the Biomega as well as proflavonol C. And so we have a bunch of, and proglucamine for the immune system. So it's just a bunch of different supplements to, of course, that's a very small meal. Ideally, I would have a more protein heavy meal if I'm going to take supplements, but whatever, that's fine. Of course, and here's a canister for one of those that I've added to the pack, Help a Plus. So that's that. So what have we wrapped up? We have some garbage, some tools, some tape and stationery, some personal care items, food, makeshift way, some debt because it's not really my stuff, paperwork, mail, as well as some finances, and obviously all that backlog of shit that we had to do from the previous live stream. All right, and that's just in that area right there, was driving me insane. Oh yeah, and the knife down here as well, the replacement knife. Why don't I just take it off? Why do I even bother keeping this here? Because you can't see anything. The contrast is so low. So here is the utility knife I'm going to bring this to, the box cutter that I'm going to bring to work as a replacement for the one that's broken down now. Obviously, unfortunately, I didn't want to replace it. This is a very good. I want to keep this almost like a souvenir. It's a great knife. Unfortunately, I have to discard it now because it's no longer functional. So I'm going to use this instead. All right, next. How far are we in? We're 13 minutes in, and I only covered the first section. That's insane, and what can I say? There's a lot to cover. So we still have this. Fortunately for me, all this stuff here is going to be fairly straightforward, so I'm going to start the next live stream. I'm going to end this one right here and say, of course, the next live stream is going to the second of 2 live streams. I'm going to call it quits after that for the day. Apologize, I've been missing 2-3 live streams for the past few days. I'm supposed to do one about daily or every other day, but you know how it is. It's just, like I said, 300 things all together in a span of a week or 2 over the course of the past 2 months. Over 1,000 things to do when it comes down to the nitty gritty. So why don't we just head on to the next live stream, and we'll continue off from that and transition into the food and groceries, and as well as that and that, whatever's next, and deliver the take-home message. So stay tuned for that. All right, so take care. Ahn Rho Project. See you in about 5 minutes.